Season 2 of On the Shelf, the series. Welcome back. My name is Mike. Today, with me, we have Neil Cole. Neil, how are we doing today?
Doing good. I'm no longer in the dark, so that's a good thing.
So this is actually, folks, this is actually episode 2, take 2. Because the first time we had started this episode, and I'm going to play it somewhere, we were discussing some of the various actors who have played Superman. And when one of them was mentioned, and I'm going to let you guess which one it is, Neil's light blew. So Neil actually had to go to Walmart and go pick up a new one. So this is actually round 2.
Yeah.
But on that note, folks, I'd like to again welcome Neil Cole to the show. Neil is the owner, operator, and CEO of Superman Supersite. Neil, how are we doing? And how are we doing?
Doing good. It's like I thought 2021 was supposed to be better, but maybe it was just a 2020 delay. I don't know.
It must be a time zone. It's a time zone thing. It has to be.
There you go.
So, Neil, I've known you for a minute. We actually met for the first time in Metropolis, Illinois in 2019. Why don't you tell the folks who are watching a little bit about yourself and your website?
Okay. The website started in 1998. It all started when, at that time, the internet was still in its infancy, the good old days of dial-up.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody having AOL because you always got the 30-minute free trials or 30-day free trials in the mail.
It felt like 30 minutes, though. That's how long it took to connect.
Yeah, exactly. So at that time, I had been online for maybe about 2 years, and I wanted to learn more about designing a website.
Okay.
So I wanted it to be something that would stand out, something that would get noticed by Google and Yahoo, which was still popular then. Not so much now, but I think Bing is even more popular now. But,
ask Jeeves. Yeah. There's another one.
Yeah. So I pretty much just started self-teaching myself because everything was done by hand then. Good old HTML. Which,
I was going to say, writing code.
Yeah, even today, that's still what I do. I still do everything
really?
By scratch. Yeah,
awesome.
It's how I learned, so never changed. 23 years later, still doing it the same way.
God bless her.
There were not really any sites about Superman, and I was somewhat of a fan at that time of the character.
Okay.
So I thought, well, this would be a good subject and help me learn a lot about the character I didn't know. So that's how it all started. And the original website was on a free service that was called Angel Fire.
I remember Angel Fire.
It was one of the early ones that was really easy to use and set up a free site. And then just over all the years, I've learned so much more about the character, so many things that are tied to the character in the real world and fiction, and it's just been more than I could ever imagine. It's definitely a labor of love. It calls me to also be able to build a huge collection of memorabilia. I originally started back in 1992 when there was the death of Superman. And I had no idea it was taking place. I wasn't into the comics. I'm still not into the comics now. I don't follow the comic books at all. It's so much to get into. It's one huge aspect of the character, definitely. But it's just that's just a realm that I've never really.
You've never dipped your toe in that realm, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. And I just happened to stop by a comic book store in Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Okay.
And I had worked third shift security then, and I was swinging by just to see, what was new. And there was a line out front, and I thought, well, this is kind of weird, for there to be a line at the comic book store. I assumed it was somebody signing comics, like, artist, writer. And then I found out about the whole death of storyline that had been going on for a while with Doomsday. And I bought the black bagged issue.
Superman 75, yep.
Yep. Tried to talk the comic book shop owner out of the platinum edition. Obviously, at that time, everybody thought everything was going to skyrocket in price. He's going to die. He's never coming back.
Yeah, okay.
Well, so now it's it didn't happen with the platinum issue, which I think still goes for about 200. But
Really? Huh.
yeah, and the black bag you can get for like anywhere from like 10 to 25.
And I got like 6 of them somewhere in this
Right.
room.
Exactly.
Exactly, same thing. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, this is gonna be it.
Right.
This is huge. It's black bag. Don't open it. Don't look inside."
Exactly.
Like, and you're like, "Oh my god, okay, I'm sorry, I won't do it." And now that you can get it like at a dollar store.
Exactly.
But it's fine.
But it's that's how the whole connection with the character started with that one comic book. That was the first piece of Superman memorabilia I'd ever bought. And then with the website, like I said, it's just grown since then. Met a lot of people, been able to do interviews with actors, and so even managed to track down Mark Pillow back in 2008.
Nuclear Man, for those who are uninitiated.
Yeah, he was in Metropolis in 2012, I think it was, and it was the same year that Brandon Routh was there for the first time, and Sam Huntington.
Yep.
And yeah, he's a great fella. Obviously, outside of Superman 4, he never really did anything else. There was a TV series that he did called The Klondike Kid, but it was more of a European series. And it was just crazy to track him down. Left him a message on his answering machine saying, "If this is Mark Pillow, the actor, give me a call back. If not, I apologize." And
sorry for stalking you.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, great fella. Wonderful to be able to talk to somebody that actually worked with Chris.
That's cool.
So,
that's awesome. That's so cool. So as you said, I have a feeling based on the little bit that you would say then that Christopher Reeve is your Superman. Everyone has an era of Superman, you know, like when they grew up with, or how they started or whatever. So would you say that Chris is probably your Superman?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like you said, everybody grows up with one actor, and it's kind of great and crazy at the same time that pretty much each decade there's been a new actor. I mean, you know, you had George in the 50s and technically the 60s, Chris 70s and 80s, and then Dean in the 90s, Tom
we
in
can't
the early
we can't
2000s.
say the name again, bro, because it's like freaking Voldemort.
Yeah.
If you say that again, something's gonna catch on fire over there. We can't say it, dude.
Henry going forward, and I won't say the other name.
The guy on the CW.
Oh, I skipped Bob Holliday. I think it's okay to mention his name.
Yeah, and Bob, and even Kirk. Did you mention? I don't think you mentioned Kirk.
Yeah, Kirk, obviously.
Right.
If you want to go way back, you could say Ray Middleton, but
yeah, now we're coming with gas here, baby. Woo. So Chris, do you have any Chris Reeve stuff?
I have a few items. Unfortunately, I don't have anything that's like, you know, I don't have like a full costume over in the corner or anything.
God.
Like
Bowers.
some collectors are lucky enough to have.
Right, like Bowers and Jay Towers. Whoa.
Yeah, exactly. Or Zach Curtis now also.
Zach Curtis, another one. Boy, some of these collectors, man. If they thank God they use their powers for good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, what I have for Chris is pretty much things associated with the movie. You know, obviously have every bundle that Warner Brothers has released of the series.
Oh yeah,
you got to buy every one. This one has a new 5 seconds of footage.
Yeah, but you know what? I was always hyped when those things came out. Like I was always excited every time there's like new footage. I'm like, okay.
Right, exactly.
I want to see the outtakes of Marlon Brando screwing up every single name.
Right. Calling it Krypton.
Kal-El, or whatever the hell your name is.
Yeah.
Those are funny bloopers, folks. If anyone hasn't seen those ones of Marlon Brando, you want to talk about dialing it in? Woof.
But yeah, for Chris, it's kind of more. I have a lot of things tied to him, like the people that starred with him, like mentioning Mark.
Yeah.
But been able to meet both Jack O'Halloran and Sarah Douglas and Margot, and just in Metropolis meeting them, but also years ago Sarah was actually here in Myrtle Beach for a convention.
Really?
I got to go back to her hotel room to do an interview.
Nice.
just to do an interview. Um, Jack actually did an interview with him over the phone prior to meeting him, and so yeah, it's I would love to have more things directly tied to Chris, but it's just it's not in the budget. So
Yeah, I hear you. I've been fortunate enough over the years to I have 2 autographs of his.
okay,
I have one of a playbill that he was in. It's actually made out to a mic, so that was pretty neat.
oh okay,
And then I have one, of the iconic, American flag, hands behind the back
right,
one. So I mean, listen, I like you, bro. I'd love to own a cape. Hell, I'd a belt, something,
yeah,
but not in my budget either. You know.
right, yeah. The only part of associated with a cape that I have is George Reeves. Years ago, the Super Museum actually made available cape swatches.
Oh, okay.
It was from a George Reeves cape that was too deteriorated to restore.
Yeah.
So they actually offered. So that is actually on the opposite side of the room here, but it's that's probably the most vintage item that I have. Is that so.
Nice, awesome. So speaking of the items in your collection, you have anything you want to show the class for show and tell?
Yeah, I've got a few around the computer here.
Awesome.
I'll start with this one. This is actually one I forgot that I had. It's a beer stein. I'm sure some people will recognize that. I think that's.
I have that one.
You do?
I love that one. It's so neat. There was 2 of them. Now to cut you off for about half a second. As far as I know, there's been two Superman beer steins. One is that one that we both have, and then there's one that's a full figure of him. I believe the long-haired version of him in a beer stein. I believe those are the only 2 I've ever seen.
Okay, that sounds familiar. I think I've actually seen that on eBay. It's been a long time, very rare. So
yeah.
And the nice thing about this one is that it's got the little Superman on top, which a lot of times has been broken off.
Yep.
So yeah, I've had that probably. That was actually one of the first collectibles. Also, that's probably been about 20 years.
It's awesome.
So another one I've got here is this was from the premiere of Batman versus Superman in New York City. Turkish Airlines was actually the sponsor.
Yeah, they did all those commercials, right? They did like the go to Metropolis and go to Gotham City commercials, right?
Right. And flip it around here. This one's actually still sealed. So
nice.
How's that?
Yeah, it's good. I just see my forehead, but other than that, we're good. It's so what's in there? What's in the box?
It's a paperweight.
Really?
It's a huge box for what's actually in it because the paperweight's only about that big.
Is it just the logo? Is it like the symbol?
No, it's actually it's the plane itself.
Really? That's neat.
It's a Turkish airline plane, and then it's got like a little stand under it, and it's essentially that's all in there. It's all the rest of it's just foam rubber. But what's cool about that is, like I said, those were actually given out at the premiere in New York City. My wife and I were lucky enough to be able to go to.
I was going to say, what's cool about that is that you went to the premiere in New York City.
Right, and that was actually I'm not humble bragging here. That was actually the second premiere because we went to Man of Steel also in 2013.
That's awesome.
But what Turkish Airlines had done was it was at Radio City, and when you walked in, they had put one of these in every single seat.
Really?
Inside the theater. And
wow.
You're in New York, so I know you've been inside Radio City, and you know how huge it is. But what was cool is once the movie was over, we purposely hung around until we were literally the last 2 to leave. And so many people had left these in their seats. So then it was just a matter of going around going, okay.
Really?
So
people are silly.
That's why this one's still sealed.
Oh, yeah, because you got 6 others which you opened up.
Yeah. or wound up on auctions or something like that. So, but hey.
Listen, move your feet, lose your seat. That's what happened with this.
Right.
Why would you do that, man?
Speaking of the, a lot of people there were probably just they were leaving in Bentleys and Lamborghinis. So
what the hell do they need with an airplane paperweight?
Yeah, exactly.
You and I are sign me up. I want 6.
Yeah.
They're going to go to their airplane.
But speaking of the first premiere, unfortunately for the Batman v Superman, it was just a premiere and not an after party. Right. But Man of Steel, it was an after party that they invited everybody to as well. So they actually took us from That one was at the which theater was it? I can't remember the name of the theater now. Uh, but they took us from the venue on like 20 chartered buses through
Really?
Times Square to where the after party was over near Penn Station. And what was cool about that is we actually got to meet Henry. They kind of had everybody that was of some importance or had starred in the movie in different sections that were like a lounge area, like with a bunch of couches. So Henry was right smack in the middle of this huge area where the party was going on, and just kind of waited a while. And finally, my wife, she was behind me. She kind of motioned at him like this, and he saw her, and he was like, "Okay, come on." So we walked over, spoke to him for all of a minute.
Yeah.
And we got our picture with him, and that's actually what I have here. You can see that.
Very nice. Look at how young he is. Oh.
Yeah, that's Henry over here.
Yeah. God, he looks like such a fresh-faced fella.
Oh yeah, I mean, you got to think that's 8 years ago now. So it's. But what was cool is when we were leaving, just off in the corner, Christopher Maloney, that was the general. He was just kind of over in the corner by himself, and kind of noticed him and walked over to him, and he immediately stood up and was very cordial, and so
he's awesome.
That's definitely one of my greatest memories tied to the character. Obviously,
Awesome.
To be able to do something
to meet one of a Superman, especially one that was currently or is currently, because I feel he's coming back. And fingers crossed he's still coming back.
Oh, yeah.
But currently wearing the cape. To me that's neat. That's like meeting Chris Reeves at a convention. That famous one, the Dixie convention that
Right.
that Bowers always talks about, that he signed basically everything.
Right.
That's like Henry showing up to one of those things.
Well, what's crazy is going to the premiere was actually kind of a joke. It was just the online publicist for the movie was sending out press releases and everything leading up to it. And then I just jokingly asked her, is it possible to attend the premiere? And she was like, well, let me check and I'll get back with you. And then like a week later, it was like, sure, just be here at this time and all this, that, and the other. And and it was like, you'll be going to the after party as well. And I was like,
sick.
Okay,
if I have to.
Yeah, exactly. So,
that's awesome.
and then kind of the same story with the second one also. And then unfortunately with Justice League, they only did an LA premiere.
Good.
And so there was no invite for that one.
It's all right. Snyder Cut's going to be better anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So
Absolutely.
There's no question. No Justice League. Sorry for anybody who likes it. Listen, I'm happy that we got to see at least some incarnation of the Justice League at some point, but we're holding out for Zack's vision.
Yeah.
I'll call it a vision.
Yeah, I mean, to completely change it to where Darkseid wasn't even in it.
Right.
And then just insane for all the changes that were done to it.
I know. I'm actually excited to see how much of a fleshed out role Ray Fisher's Cyborg gets.
Right.
That to me, that he said that was one of the biggest things that ended up on the cutting room floor, was how much stuff there was with Ray Fisher. So
well, there was so much that they showed in the previews of him, especially the football scene.
Yeah.
And then it's like you see the film and it's like, okay, what happened? So
Warner Brothers happened.
Yeah.
Sorry, Warner Brothers, love you. So you got anything else to show?
Yeah, I got a couple more things.
Cool.
This is a recent pickup. This is a line of figures called DC Bombshells that Cryptozoic put out. And
there you go. There we go.
That good?
Yeah, good.
And this one is actually one that's.
Oh, wait. He's holding a weight, right? He's holding a weight.
Yeah. It's designed after the figures they had.
Yeah.
Like they were from the 1920s, like pinup art.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the Superman where he's like a circus muscle man.
Right. The statue is him with, I think, Power Girl. He's on Power Girl's shoulder, I think.
Yeah.
I think it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one has got him as like the mustached barbell lifting, but this one's cool because this is a gold variant. It was
Really?
only like one out of every 100.
Ooh,
And
love those.
Cryptozoic, they're actually one of the ones that have donated stuff for our meet and greet that we do in Metropolis each year. So this was kind of an extra that they sent us.
Oh, that's fantastic. I think
So
Cryptozoic, didn't they do the like the tiki,
yes,
the Red Sun tiki figures?
yeah, they did the Red Sun one. That was the comic book day 2 years ago.
Yep,
And
got
then
that.
they had the regular tikis. Walmart had them. I know they had them. But yeah, they've done a lot of stuff. They've done board games. They did an entire series of very highly stylized collector cards
Really?
where it was all these different variants of cards where some of them were actually the original plate that was used to make the cards.
I
And
gotcha.
they insert those. There'd be one with like artist sketches where it's like an original sketch,
That's
that
awesome.
random artist did. So
God,
yeah,
remember we were young? Remember we were kids and like the cards and stuff that came out then? Like, the action
yeah.
figures and everything? God, like this is like unbelievable. The crap that's churned out now. It's not even crap. It's good. It's really good.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Figures with like 36,000 points of articulation.
Yeah.
Look, this figure has an actual working nervous system.
Right. Especially now that you have McFarlane doing them. It's like
Oh
crazy.
my god, his stuff looks amazing.
Oh, yeah.
His Batman stuff. Oh,
I've got some of his early stuff from the '90s when he did like the horror stuff, like Torture of Souls and that kind of stuff.
I remember.
Very not kid friendly.
No, but still really awesome.
But yeah, I've got a couple other things here.
Sure.
This is actually, if I can get it
I
in
see
there.
it. I see C. Kent at the. There
At
it
this
is.
end. This was actually sent out as a promotional part of a promotional box that Warner Brothers sent out for Man of Steel.
Really?
Prior to the movie, it came with it's like the boxes that you can sign up for now, like World's Finest and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And it came with the duffel bag that's designed to look like the one he had in the first movie when he's hiking, hitchhiking
yeah.
on the side of the road.
That's
And
awesome.
it came with a T-shirt, like a press release, and then it also came with this little rubber kryptonite key that, like the one used to turn on everything in the ship.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a flash drive.
Ooh, that's
Came
neat.
it came with all the promotional images and artwork and everything on it.
Awesome.
So that was one of those surprise items that they didn't tell you were going to get it, and then suddenly
That's a cool one. I
there
like
it
that.
is.
I like neat stuff like that. That's awesome.
So that's one of the items I've never seen anywhere else before. I mean, obviously anyone else who got the box would have it, but I've always looked on eBay and whatnot.
And you
just-
never find it.
Yeah. So, and if it didn't have the C. Ken on there, it would just be like, oh, green duffel
The
bag.
freaking duffel bag, right?
So
That's awesome. I actually have. It's funny you said that because I saw something once on some random website, which I showed off in I think my initial episode, where somebody took a solar light, like along a walkway thing, and they 3D printed the key, put it on the inside, and then got LexCorp vinyl stickers to put to put around it to make it look like it's some sort of like stasis chamber for the freaking key.
oh, okay.
I have never seen it. I got a friend in Canada who, if he knew where I lived, he'd probably come to my house and burglarize it because he wants it so badly. But like it's one of those things that I've never ever seen anywhere. You could probably remake it, but
Right.
it's really, I love unique stuff like that you never find anywhere. Like I've never seen that before.
Yeah, it's probably the only item I have that I've never seen somewhere else before. So,
That's
but
so cool.
and the key itself. So
It's so
but,
cool. So you've said before that you've before, do you have anything else?
I had one more item.
Bring it.
You had said to like do something that's like your Grail item.
Oh well,
But
so it's the Grail item. So you have it. You obtained your Grail item.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll get back to that.
Oh, you're talking about something I haven't gotten.
Well,
Okay.
all right. So So this thing, because we'll get to that in a minute. But so this item was something that was a Grail item for you that you picked up.
You technically picked up, yes.
You murdered somebody and took it off their corpse.
I obtained it through someone that gave away this item once a year for a period of time.
Okay, so the Grail item that I'm thinking of, a Grail item that something you want, but we'll get to that in a minute. What's the Grail item that's something that you wanted that you were able to somehow obtain from somebody at some point in time?
The one that I actually have.
The one that you have.
Okay, for a period of time, and he's going to start doing it again, from my understanding. Jim Hambrick, the owner, curator, Superman Collector Supreme of the Super Museum in Metropolis. At one point in time, he used to give away every year at the celebration an item called the George Award.
Ah, yes.
And what this was a George Reeves statue that he would give away to someone that basically embodied all the characteristics and morals of the Man of Steel. And they would do a ceremony each year called the George Awards.
Mm-hmm.
There would be not just the awards, it would also be an auction for everything from run-of-the-mill items to Holy Grail items, as you say. And they, in recent years, it's kind of fallen off a little bit. It's still taking place, but it's kind of been more along the lines of, like, at one point it was like a huge auction and dinner and everything, and then it kind of got reduced to just kind of more of a finger food, smaller auction. And then in more recent years, the city of Metropolis, they actually started hosting it and giving away the George Award. And then Jim would do the auction separately, either in the past, I think it was just the past year, they did it at the museum upstairs where they renovated.
Yeah. I remember that. I was at the auction for the theater, the Messick Theater auction.
The Save the Messick Theater.
Yeah, I was at that one with Luke Bug, the Geek of Steel.
Right.
And I have to say the full title, otherwise I have to pay him if I don't say the full title. So when Luke Bug, the Geek of Steel, was in Metropolis for his second time, we actually went to the Save the Messick Theater auction instead of that one. But I heard it was very good. Some of the folks, some of the regulars, said it was a pretty neat auction, which is good.
Right. But they're supposed to, from talking with his daughter Morgan and her husband Adam, that essentially run and operate the museum now.
Okay.
Jim's obviously still there all the time as well, but have said about going forward, trying to start it back, bring it back to what it was before.
Great.
But with all that said, I was lucky enough to be the recipient of the George Award in 2010, which was only fantastic. My third year attending. Went in 2008 for the very first time, just as a fan. Went with family. Drove an RV all the way from South Carolina, which was a mistake because that's when gas prices were $4.50 a gallon.
Oh my God! God, take out a loan for that.
Yeah, exactly. So, much to my surprise, Jim's up there, doing the whole speech about what the award means and everything, and then he calls out my name. So
complete shock.
But that's what I have here.
Oh wow, neat. That's neat.
He wrote an inscription on the bottom, which you can.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, you make us shine, the American way. Lovely, Jim Hambrick. Lovely.
So
that's the beauty of the statue, though, huh?
He actually, at one point in time, I don't know if he still does this or not, but he actually had the mold for the statue, and he would actually cast the statue himself.
Oh, that's cool.
And then mount it, paint it, and I'm not sure if that's still what he does, but yeah, it's pretty solid. It's not hollow or anything. I think it's like a resin.
Reminds me of the Kingdom Come statue, the Superman Kingdom Come statue.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
It's about the same size and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got some weight. It's probably easy about, I'd say, 5-7 pounds, something like that.
Damn. So needless to say, if you were Kevin McAllister and two people were trying to break into your house, you could you somehow tie that to something like in Home Alone and just totally.
I'd probably find a paint can or something before I did this.
Oh well, yeah, of course. I mean, definitely not that. But that's so cool. That's really neat that you were able to achieve and obtain one of your Grail items, especially that it was a huge shock and you had no idea it was coming.
Exactly, and it was something I'd read about years before we actually went to the celebration. Because again, that's one of the things I learned about with the website was that there's a real Metropolis,
right?
And yeah, like we were discussing before the blackout during take one. Learning that there was that Metropolis, and then I was jokingly saying there's the one in Nevada also, but not too much going on there.
No, definitely not. I'm scared to get back into this territory, Neil. I'm not gonna lie. I'm waiting for something to catch on fire or some shit around here.
Exactly. Light's holding out now, so.
So now, speaking of Grail items, since we've already spoken about it, what would be something else that you have wanted? Again, funds. Again, more money than Lex Luthor, access to some sort of time machine that maybe was in the Fortress of Solitude. What would be that item that you want?
It's going to sound kind of cliche, but it would be an original vintage copy of Action Comics #1.
It's awesome.
I mean, it's one of those things that, and it's funny you mentioned time travel, because it's like 1938, in really the grand scheme of things, not terribly long ago.
No.
When you consider, and it's just hard to believe that this was something that was just sitting on spinner racks, newsstands for 10 cents. And, I have relatives that were alive then, and it's like, constantly asking them, did you collect comics? Did you collect comics? And it's like, well, do you know of a house where one got stored in the wall like these idiots keep finding?
I don't understand how it's multiple people. Who would put the comic books in the wall? Like my grandparents had, like, when my father and his brothers and stuff would collect comics, and they had them in a box, and they were kind of craptastic. But I mean, there was, Silver Surfer #1 in there. There was, Avengers #1. There was some cool stuff in there. No Action Comics #1, but I mean, I have a couple originals that look like if somebody sneezed on them wrong, they'd probably disintegrate. But
right.
But right. I mean, I don't understand how multiple people are finding stuff in walls. This isn't the Goonies. Yeah. Like, where is like all this coming from?
Right.
Like, come on.
When it happened the first time, I was like, oh, that's cool. And then the second and third time, it was like, oh, wait a minute.
Is this Groundhog's Day? What is this?
The one I loved was the one that somebody found that had actually been placed between the pages of a National Geographic.
I remember that.
It's like that person actually took the wherewithal to preserve it by putting it somewhere that because it was also in a cedar chest.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, exactly. As opposed to somebody that's like, in the wall.
Just put this on, board it up. It's fine.
Yeah, it's kind of cold right here.
What I find neat is that, I think that I think Nick Cage has a cop in Action Comics #1, and I think Sebastian Bach used to, the singer from Skid Row.
Right.
He was like I remember like an episode of Cribs, whenever, decades ago now, and I can show him my age, whatever. But like he was like a big comic book nerd. Like he had like the pull out drawers of like comic books. And I, for some reason, seem to remember thinking he had an Action Comics #1.
Really?
But they have those unlimited funds, and they can buy whatever the hell they want. Right. You and I would have to settle for like page 12 of Action Comics #1 for like $3,000.
Or like I saw a couple of weeks ago, they actually had an auction for pieces of an Action Comics.
I saw that
flaked off during the restoration process, and it was like it was in a plastic baggie, and it was like 7 just random pieces of like old looking paper, and it sold for $450.
Yep.
So I mean, there's always somebody out there to buy it. So
absolutely.
And I think Nicolas Cage had the money at one point to have it.
I think you're definitely right.
Yeah.
I think that he definitely.
A copy of Action Comics #1.
I'm gonna name my kid Kal-El, and I definitely need a copy of the comic.
Has
All
that
right.
script for National Treasure 3 come yet?
That's actually a pretty good impression of Nicolas Cage. I gotta tell you. Everyone simultaneously just hit like the X in the upper right hand corner. Everyone's like, all right, now it's turned into the Nicolas Cage show. I'd rather just watch him do that History of Profanities on Netflix,
Right.
which I just promoted. You're welcome.
I'm starting to think National Treasure 3 basically will be him trying to hunt down his copy that was found in that storage locker.
That would be amazing.
Where is it?
Starring Nicolas Cage, directed by Nicolas Cage, produced by Nicolas Cage.
Exactly.
I'd watch that. I would definitely watch that. So,
And,
Neil, I got a big question for you, and it's the question which a lot of people have answered, and then some have changed their minds about what they gave as a response. So now I'm going to ask you:
okay.
if you had one,
Peak. Oh, I'm sorry.
good night, everybody. If you had one shelf in your house, it's a theoretical shelf, so it could be as big or as small as you want. It's one of those Kryptonian ones, so it fluctuates with items on it.
Right.
And you were only allowed 3 items from your collection. What would those 3 items be?
Okay. That's a good question. One would probably definitely be the Kate swatch I was talking about earlier. I mean, just the fact that it's something that was directly associated with George Reeves.
Absolutely.
The other would be it's a certificate, Supermen of America certificate that's actually signed by Siegel and Schuster
Awesome.
and Kirk Allen. His signature's on it also. So. Third, I'm looking around the room now to see. I've got so much stuff I've had to put away into containers because it got to be too crowded.
Oh yeah, I can definitely relate to that, bro. Would it be the Reeves? Would it be the George Reeves statue?
It's hard to say because, I mean, there's autographs that I have of people that have passed.
Okay.
So, I probably would lean more toward like a binder of those autographs.
Okay, that's binders are acceptable.
Because I mean, there's the autograph from Noel. There's Margot. Just those people that are no longer with us.
Yeah.
To be something that actually got directly from them. Actually was there when they signed it. So
this isn't something you purchased from a auction house or an eBay.
Right.
That didn't look like somebody tried to sign it like this and go, look, no, it's authentic.
Right.
That's awesome. Okay, that's I like it. And later, when I release this episode, you're going to message me and be like, Mike, I was really thinking about it, and this is what they should have been. But it's okay. Listen, we collectors. I've been told by some people that it's almost like a trick question, because if you have things you have in your collection, most of them you put there for a reason because it's something that you like. I mean, yeah, some people just buy like. It has an S on it, so let me buy it. Let me buy that thing of napkins. Let me buy this thing of cups. Look, shoelaces that have, the S on it. And then you have some people who are like, all right, this is very unique, or gifts that were given to you. I had the 7-Eleven guy. I went there every day, and he knew I was a big Superman fan. I walk in one day, he screams from across the the store, Mike, I got something for you. We got something. We have you in stock. He's like, I want you to have this. And he busts this bad boy out.
Oh, cool.
No, it's just, but this was nice that somebody like, you know what I mean? So this would be something that I would consider to be not would go on the shelf, but I wouldn't have picked this up otherwise. But the fact that somebody would, was thought of me and, wanted me to have it, I thought was really cool. So I get it. We are going to post the links for Superman Super Site at the bottom here. Hopefully, the Metropolis is going to Superman Celebration is going to happen in 2021.
Yes, it's one of those things that's still up in the air.
Yeah.
People I've talked to, they're like, you have the ones leaning, to yes, it will, and the others that are kind of like, because, like, just even earlier today, somebody had told me that the quilt shows that take place over in Paducah
Yeah.
have already been canceled, and those were scheduled for April and September. So it's like, it really boils down to what the state is like then, Illinois, because they're going to be the ones that are like, can't have more than a gathering of 5 people.
Yeah, I know. Well, I know some of the self-titled Super Friends of Metropolis are trying to do a virtual con.
Yes, yeah.
Which I was, they were nice enough to ask me if I wanted to partake in it, as well as any I guess some of the people involved, if I wanted to do a short little on the shelf segment with them like we're doing here. Of course, anything from Metropolis. You know, it's we all have the S in common, and I'm always a fan of anybody who, without sounding cliche, as you said, uses the S for the right reasons.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, maybe there could be a Superman Super Site virtual get together giveaway type situation. Something. You never know.
Because I've got all the stuff that was donated for the meet and greet for this past year, and it's still sitting in a bunch of boxes. And as you might remember from 19, there were all the calendars.
Yeah. Wow.
That had the artwork.
The artwork was beautiful on all those calendars. It's a shame that, like, obviously now the year is kaput, but
yeah. So now I have all these 2020 calendars to give away. And it's like, it's just going to be, well, you can take the artwork and frame it. That's
exactly. You can make collages. There's a bunch of stuff. Shadow boxes. There's a bunch of stuff you can do with that kind of stuff.
Right. And it's all the vintage covers too. It's like 40s, 50s.
Beautiful stuff. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah,
well, Neil, listen, I want to thank you again for coming on both times.
Yeah.
And again, Superman fans, if you are interested in all sorts of Superman news, go on Superman Super Site. There is a literal crap ton of stuff for anybody who might be interested in anything. And we'll post all the links. We'll post the Facebook stuff, so anyone can say howdy do to Neil over there. So, and thank you folks for watching. If you haven't done so, subscribe. One day this finger, I'm going to get carpal tunnel from pointing down there all the time, but it's worth it. If you are also interested in coming on this show, drop me a line. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, even right here on freaking YouTube. Just find me somehow. Shoot the bat signal, smoke signals, whatever you got. I'd love to have you on. So, thank you again. Enjoy your week. We'll talk soon.